Hi everyone, welcome back to Liziloulovecraft. Today we're tackling something every crocheter has to run into at some point, running out of yarn in the middle of a project. But don't panic, I'll show you a couple of easy ways to fix it and keep your stitches looking neat. Okay, so you're not quite finished with the project and suddenly that yarn cake is down to its last strands. So what next? First, don't panic. Now, hopefully get another skein of yarn of the same colour, which if you check the lot number on the back of your yarn label and find a matching lot number, that means it's the same dye. So it's going to be the same exact colour and not slightly different. But here we go. So let's do a few single crochets. And this adding on the yarn method works the same way for any stitch. It's just before you finish it like this, before you do the last yarn over or yarn under finish loop, you would do this next move. So insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now this is where we normally finish, so if it's a double crochet or a half double, you would have yarned over and done your other sections, and then this will be the end bit. But we don't finish. Instead, we drop the yarn, we grab a new skein. I'm using red just to show you. So we would then yarn over or hook the yarn, pull it through and just give the purple a small tighten. Now, I normally then yarn over, but put the two tails over the next stitch and crochet over the tails a couple of times. So then another crochet into the stitch and then over both the tails, and then I would do it that way. And all the way continue across and then drop the tails. You can then weave them in at the end. And as you see, you wouldn't be able to tell if it wasn't a different colour, but that's also how I do a version of colour swapping. So now let's try a slightly different way. Or we start off the same way, but how we attach the yarn is different. Now let's give us a bit of wiggle room. Now, we take a bit of a longer tail than I would normally use, just for example. Now, you could just tie it, like so, and make a knot that way and pull it through, or you can, what we call, just make it a little bit neater. So I would wrap, that's easier to hold it for me, to be honest. I would wrap this yarn over, so you're kind of making a knot. With the red, and then with the purple, similar thing. So it's up, round, through, and then you see you can tighten it as much as you need, cut off these end wisps, and then let's continue. I have to continue a little bit more than I would because I have much longer tail and I cut this off, so let's just quickly do some of these single crochets. We now have the knot. Now what I would do, because this is the back of my work, I would pull it through, because you always want it on the back. You wouldn't have these there, that's just because I haven't cut them off. and then you can just wiggle it about and hide it. You won't see them, I just haven't cut them out. That's how I would do my two methods of adding another yarn skein if I run out. But no, it's always a good idea to buy an extra skein when possible, especially for these bigger projects in case you run out. And as I said, check the dye lot numbers to match the exact colour, which is like the batch of dye products that we use will be the same colour, because sometimes there's a slight difference. And keep any leftover yarn for borders and appliques for future scrap projects. I have a little bag of appliques. And that's it. Anyway, running out of yarn can be, stressful, but it doesn't have to be the end. But don't forget to like, subscribe and share your own tips in the comments below. Happy hooking, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.